What up, everybody? Welcome out once again to Black Power Media. This is the RemiX Morning Show, and I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. And your host today, we have Burn It Down Kim Brown, and we have Kalanji Jamachanga.
Blackout. What it do? What's the dilly?
Yeah. Everything's everything.
What's good?
Kim is on mute.
I'm on mute.
Now you're not.
Okay,
now you back
good.
again.
There we go. Good morning, black people. Good morning, black people. Let's get this party started. All the ugly fellas, be quiet. Thank you. I was come on now. Let me hear them, fellas. Good morning, y'all. How y'all feel?
We good, man. What's poppin', Kim Brown? What it do?
Amen.
Feel like we're in church.
Hey, that new moon in Virgo took me down. I had to center myself and relax. So thank y'all for begrudging me a day off. So
you said
happy to be here.
Scorpio season is coming, so don't worry. Scorpio season is coming.
After Libra season, though, we got to get through Virgo.
Oh, hold on.
Okay. What y'all gonna do with that?
Today we have
Kamal
K. Franklin.
Let's go.
And Jackie Lukman.
Let all forsaken.
In the building. What's going on, y'all?
What's going on, y'all? Good morning.
I was a little late. There's a lot of traffic for me, and so I had to kick the kids out, and they had to run through traffic to get to school.
Hey.
So they made it. You know, I'm hoping.
I was trying to help you out, Kamal, by being later than you, but
yeah. I thought you was the driver, the getaway driver, and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Who knows around here?
You gotta teach the kids to run through traffic like you used to do in Brooklyn back in the day, right?
True.
Come on,
keep moving. They'll stop. Keep moving.
Hey, yo, come on, you weren't running through traffic, man.
And the headlights thing, then you're gonna get shut down. You're like,
Hey, we had the crossing guards, the drunk crossing guards. Shout out to all my drunk crossing guards out there.
Y'all come on, cross this damn street.
Hurry up.
A little taste.
Yeah, hey, this one crossing guard used to be like, "Won't you go play on the highway?" Like, man.
Hey, yo, big up to Anita Baker, man. She got her master's. She got her master's for music, and so finally she can make some real money. So that's a good thing for Anita. I was thinking if it wasn't verses
what
with
was this
Anita,
though? What was this?
That's Anita.
That's how Anita be rolling on her song.
That's not how she do, but
yeah, that is so how she does.
It's so sacrilegious. I know
a few people. I'm like, it's Anita Baker, B.
Yeah, yo, I know. I'm sitting here when he was doing that. I'm like, oh man, she ain't died, did he? He doing a Tutankhamun pose and shit. I'm like, oh, not Anita.
You know Anita could not dance. She could sing, but she could not dance.
That's true.
Hey, she can yawn real good. But
there's a lot of slander. There's a lot of unnecessary slander going around. Right
I know. I mean, you talking about? Weren't you some Sade fan?
Me?
Hey, no, the Ear Doctor.
Yeah, no. If
she
it was
can
a versus, it would be Sade against Anita. I think would be a good one.
It's not a versus, B. I mean, Sade really didn't do. I mean, Sade was good for what she was. She was. I'm just saying.
See, I don't know a black man who's not in love with Sade and
back in the day, but she could never really sing. Come on now.
Hey, Jackie, we got to question Kamal's goddamn intent now.
What's happening?
I don't mess with brothers and their love for Sade and Anita Baker. I stay away from that.
I'm confused. That man just disrespected Sade on here. I mean,
it's all right, but let's not act like Sade was like had some huge voice.
What?
Come on.
In the 80s? Come on,
in the 2000s, still in the 80s.
Love Deluxe, Lovers Rock. Y'all better stop playing.
Great songs. She does not have a big voice.
Exactly.
It's true.
Music. Good music.
You ain't gotta have a big voice though.
No, apparently you just have to be light skinned.
They were
have,
classics.
Like, a lot of lipstick on. That's all.
It was that ponytail. It was the ponytail. That's what it was.
Jackie, I can't even believe you. Out of all the people gonna get down with Kamal's madness. This is horrible. This is a bad day for the remix. We got to reboot this show.
Hey, I'm out of here.
Oh,
Give
Let me
thank
just
you.
say this real quick about Sade. Someone
left.
who's in the chat right now. Carpe Diem said Sade had a 1 octave range. Be that as it may, Sade knew her lane. Sade knows exactly her lane, her voice range. And by the way, Sade is the name of the whole group, not just Helen follows Sade. I do. No, Sade is everybody. That's what's the name of her backup band? Oh my God, it's about
What's
to drive
her
me
real
crazy.
name though? Is Sadie. I mean, let's be real. Her name is Sadie.
What happened? What happened, Kamal? Sade didn't call you back. What happened, dog?
That's
Like,
what it
why?
was.
Wow.
He was watching Jodie Watley's sister too much.
Ooh,
Anyway,
Jodie Watley.
See,
One hit
oh
wonder,
my
but
yeah.
God.
Y'all know about Jodie Watley, and Jackie know what Jodie Watley's sister is. That's why she started cracking up.
Oh my gosh, this
I
is
don't
too
know who
much for
Jodie
me. I
Watley's
haven't
sister
had
is.
coffee
I know
yet.
who Jodie Watley is, though.
You
I
know who Jodie
Watley.
Watley's sister is. You just didn't know it was her sister. But anyway, moving right along.
That's the
It
way.
must
That's
be a
above the
porn
head. That's
star.
above my head.
I thought it was which one of them 80s porn stars was rumored to be Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen's sister? Was it Janet Jacques?
No.
Or was it?
Good morning, everyone. This is the Remix Morning Show.
Sorry.
The only porn star I remember for that is Vanessa de la Cruz. I think that was.
Porn stars have mornings too.
That was Del Rio, not De La Cruz. But anyway,
I knew you were on that one.
Correct him, Kalanji.
Right, thank you.
I didn't want to be the one to correct you because I have an image to uphold.
hey, I can see all the stuff on Jackie's face. She like, no, that's not the name.
That's not the
That's
name.
the sister right there.
What was it? Della what? What was her name?
Hey,
Del
anyway,
Rio, but that's
Del
Del
Rio.
Rio.
Okay, but
Is
that's
Jodie Watley's sister? Is
Don't
that
ask
real?
me how I know.
no. Was it Janet Jackme that was her sister? Or no.
No, I don't think I know that one.
You do know. But anyway, the X in the remix. This ain't how we supposed to start the morning show.
At all.
But while we talking about porn stars, your man just got convicted. Ron Jeremy, nasty, perverted bastard that he is, for all types of charges and whatnot. But that's just,
I mean, how did people not see that coming? I mean, there's porn and then there's Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, anyway.
He was never not a porn star when it wasn't working. So I don't see how people didn't see that one coming.
Hey, shout out to all the remixers and folks out there supporting BPM who's taking their children to school right now and are thoroughly
crashing
appalled.
their cars. My bad.
Yes, and we will get all types of hate mail, emails, and messages, and we could blame it on Kim and Kamal. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway,
Gotta speak the truth.
moving right along.
Average singer.
How my sister's doing, man? It's been kind of bananas. I mean, just starting off today's show, we went from Sade and
You said
Anita
Sade.
Baker. Sade and Anita Baker. Thank you, brother. Not Shorty. I know Kamal's from the New Brooklyn. We went from all that to Ron Jeremy in less than 10 minutes. What's popping in the real world? What's going on?
Talent.
Yeah, that's man. I'm confused. But anyway, what's good, y'all? How's everything going? Good to see you girls back.
Was Ron Jeremy considered
Good
like
to be
fugly?
back.
Was that why he's so...
I'm trying to get away from Ron Jeremy.
I
Taking it back.
Kamal said, "Bring it back, bring it back."
I just have
Bring
one
it
more
back.
question because he was in every porn movie in the 1980s. Or what. I know there's not a big roster of people to go around, maybe, but
He was in every one of them. How did you know, brother?
oh, because I watched porn. I watched it. I mean, I don't remember their names like you do, but I don't got
man,
the posters, but
I support workers, man. You know what I'm saying? Workers
There we
right.
go. There we go.
You know what I'm saying?
There we go. Work
Revolutionary.
for solidarity.
That's all I'm doing
Work
here,
is
man.
work.
Hey,
Damn right.
Work is work. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of wear and
But,
tear in
you
there.
know,
A lot
Ron
of work.
Jeremy is
So I'm just
perfect.
looking out for these folks. But anyway, moving right along again. How you all been? It's good to have some sisters on here because these brothers, man, over the last couple of days, Claude have mercy.
I got some questions for Jacqueline. Jacqueline, it's so wonderful to see your face this morning, my
Thank
sister.
you. Thank you.
Did they put you and Sean's show? Did they put By Any Means Necessary back on YouTube?
We are back on YouTube. It was some BS thing about, we said on the show that the election wasn't legitimate, but we were having a conversation about people who think the election wasn't legitimate. And, Yeah, so yeah, we're out of the ban and we're back on YouTube.
Good to hear it.
Cutting up as usual, and I'm pretty sure we'll say something that'll get us banned again. So enjoy it while it lasts.
I'm glad you just clarified that, because a couple people hit me up and they said that right after our show, the last interview you did with me, that I was the cause of that shutdown. So thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you so much.
It was not. It was not you at all. It was actually an interview with Sean was on vacation. It was me. And it was me interviewing I think Ted Rawl for the live hour. And so surprise, it wasn't Kalanji's fault.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you, Jackie. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous, man. I was feeling bad. I'm like, man, what's going on, man? First, it was
single-handedly getting them yanked off YouTube by himself.
That's horrible. But they let the remix show stay up, so that's a wonderful thing. So we're doing something here together.
Yes. Jacqueline, I know also you were in the streets of DC Friday night for the protests regarding DC killing of Antoine Gilmore. What was that like? I saw, I was coming through the area and my people was like, you can't even go New York Avenue right now because it's shut down.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's crazy to be to see my city change, to see DC change the way it has, to see gentrification do what it's done to streets that we used to run, around here. Just being kids and having a good time, and our very existence is criminalized now in the neighborhoods that we used to hang out in and just have a good time in. And, this brother was just sleeping in his car. And who the hell calls the cops because somebody is asleep in their car? I mean, I tell you who, people who don't live in this neighborhood, people who don't know the people who lived in this neighborhood, and people who don't have a connection with other people in this neighborhood and see us as a threat. So, the cops showed up with riot gear. One cop had a riot shield. They startle Antoine awake. He wakes up, he tries to move the car moves ahead. I'm sure he's all freaked out. And the cops violate their own protocols. They shot at a moving car, 10 bullets into the car, killed that man. And it's just, people are tired. People are tired of the gentrifiers, because this kind of stuff is connected to gentrification.
Absolutely.
This is racist police terrorism. This is how the police state operates and how it's always operated. But this is absolutely tied to gentrification, because the cops not only protect property, but they protect the gentrifiers too. So this is why when people move into our neighborhoods, they call the cops on people who were living in the neighborhood for nuisance crimes, And so, I mean, people are tired, and, walking up New York Avenue and seeing all of the new hip, trendy bars and all the wealthy, whiter folks hanging out and enjoying their dinner. I'm glad that we clearly made a bunch of people extremely uncomfortable. Because that's the whole point of protest. Protest still has a purpose. You raise awareness among people who otherwise wouldn't know and wouldn't care about these issues. So yeah, I was real glad that people were intentional in stopping in front of these places and blasting them with the bullhorn and telling them about these people that the cops have killed and how it ties to gentrification. And yes, y'all are gentrifiers. And so that was really, I hate that we have to keep doing it, but I was glad to see as many people out as there were. I mean, there were people coming out of a side street when we walked by because their family member had been killed by the police, and they were just going to join us. I mean, this is just a huge thing. So, it's like I said, I hate that we have to keep doing this, but we have to keep doing this.
I mean, you have to keep doing it, because the fact that the police were able to de-escalate a white man threatening to blow up his truck on the grounds of a federal building. Claimed he had a bomb. Talk all the white supremacist shit on Facebook for 2 hours. Facebook just let him go, right?
Yeah, send him a whiteboard so he can write notes with the cops. with a little robot. They did that shit.
And
they did
talked
that.
to him. They
Sorry
talked to him for 5 hours. They talked to him for 5 hours and allowed him to surrender. And Antoine Gilmore got maximum 10 seconds to react after being startled awake. So yeah, no, burn this shit the fuck down. Excuse my language.
Yeah. Speaking of burning it the fuck down, courtesy of Burn It Down, Kim Brown. We appreciate you out there, Jackie, and reporting on the wealthier whiter folks that you just mentioned. But for now, we need to go to this great legend in Black Power media, our own brother to ears, the ear doctor himself. Doctor
segues. We're gonna have to work on our segues. Our transitions. Speaking of wealthier white man,
boy, we got to work on transitions, man. I know about it very well, Kalanji.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, anyway, we're gonna rock out, do a little musical break real quick, and come back to the morning show. So let's do it like that, y'all.
Wow, Remix Morning Show.
Y'all know who it is. It's the one them called Malcolm X. So we're going to rock a little musical break for y'all. Make sure y'all like. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all come back. Tell somebody else about this show. We do this every Tuesday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So let's rock out.
We believe in the resurrection of the dead. We believe in the resurrection of the dead. We believe in the resurrection of the dead. Not in the physical resurrection, but in mental resurrection. We believe that our people are dead. People that our people are dead. Dead to the knowledge of yourself. Dead to the knowledge of your own. Dead to the knowledge of yourself. Dead to the knowledge of yourself. Dead to the knowledge of yourself. Dead to the knowledge of your own people. Dead to the knowledge of your own God. Dead to the knowledge of the devil. Like you don't even know who the devil is. Black people are waking up. Black people are standing up. Black people are rising up, and they're throwing sight into that knee-shaking white man. Black people are waking up. People are waking up. Are waking up. Black people are waking up. We believe we are the people of God's choice. That's what we believe. Dead to the knowledge of yourself. Dead to the knowledge of your own people. Dead to the knowledge of your own.
Once again, thank y'all for tuning in for this musical break. Now it's time to get back to the morning show with the morning crew. You know how we do. Let's go.
Yes. Good stuff, man. That's what we need. We need one of the greatest rappers to ever do it. El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, aka Malcolm X, Malcolm Little, Detroit Red. You know what I'm saying? And that's a beautiful fighter because of the fact that, like many of our revolutionaries, comes up out of the streets and out of the muck and the mire. You know what I mean? And was able to transform. So shout out to the ear doctor for bringing forth one of the greatest MCs.
You know what's dope? What you said about that is him being an MC. Like back in the day, only certain people had a microphone. So if you had that microphone, it was important. Nowadays, everybody got a microphone. So therefore, a lot of people just listen to what everybody say. So when you get that microphone, remember you got something to do with it. You better represent. So
no doubt. I'm glad you pointed it out too, because I remember, just organizing back in the day. Now, I remember the first time I was actually allowed, keyword allowed, to get up in front of an audience and say something. And it was just something in regards to political prisoners. And I was nervous because of the fact that I was in a space that I recognized, that giants walked. You know what I mean? So just to have that opportunity at that point, I felt like, I've advanced in some. I've gotten some type of approval from the OGs and the elders. Like you said, nowadays it's just like just hop on YouTube, hop on FaceTime, do you know what I'm saying? Just run your mouth, and depending on the number of subscribers or likes you got, that determines you as a leader or not. You know.
So that first time when you was nervous, is this when Mahalia was like, "Tell them about your dream, Kalani"?
Nah, it was that time. Shout out to the ear doctor. He got a nerve to even mention Martin and Mahalia. He's that one dude that came talking about Coretta Scott King, and he got the audacity. I hate the ear doctor. I hate his gums because they black. But anyway,
you must be practicing or something. Maybe you got a writer. You're getting a little better with it.
I know. Quick.
His voice is sharp, quick, and well delivered too.
And then ease off.
Then he dashed off.
Out.
Yeah. Dip back in the cut.
About your dream, Kalani. Click.
Yeah. That was cute, ear doctor. Rat bastard. Anyway.
Man, we might just spin that globe. Just spin that globe. Give us
Please
a chance to recover for that.
Somebody give us a globe.
What up?
Yo.
What's happening, man? Welcome back, welcome Black. Man, today I want to point out, because of the fact that it is a very historical day. It is a day when we talk about rebellions coming off of Black August. It is the 50th year commemoration of the Attica rebellion. You know what I'm saying? I've been reading things talking about the Attica riot. Now, there's a difference between a riot and a rebellion. You know what I'm saying? A rebellion is aimed towards government, is aimed towards oppression. A riot is just like an uproar. Now, some folks have asked, like, okay, well, why would you call your show Riot Started TV? Real quick, I call it Riot Started TV because of the fact that there was a situation back in Connecticut where there was an organized revolt, so to speak, against a particular store that was oppressing our people. They called the police. Police ended up beating someone down, and I was one of the people out there. And on the news, they said they identified me as the riot starter. So that just stuck as far as that particular piece. So I just want to clarify that. But there is a difference between a riot and a rebellion. I'm saying that because of the fact that the situation that took place 50 years ago at Attica prison was a rebellion. And that rebellion, when you talk about the straw that broke the camel's back, the George Jackson situation that took place a few weeks earlier, 3 weeks earlier, was that straw that broke the camel's back. There was all types of ill conditions. There was all types of, just like now in any given prison in any part of America, the conditions was deplorable. There was a lot of mistreatment, disrespect, disregard, so on and so forth. So you got over 2,000 quote unquote inmates or prisoners who decided that, enough is enough. So on September 9th, 1971, there was a takeover in which, a number of inmates decided to take some guards hostage, correctional officers, and they actually took over the prison. And for the next 4 days, they treated the guards with respect and with dignity, because of the fact that, their thing is they wanted, their basic human rights, but of course the news and the media had to paint it out like it was some type of angry uproar and the prisoners were trying to kill folks, so on and so forth. And it wasn't the case. And even the guards themselves who were held hostage, one of the things that they talked about was the fact that they begged the government, they begged the state to not, come in, in attack mode, but to come in peacefully and try to, give these people the rights that they deserved. We talked in the past about about prison movements, because of the fact that, you know, we hear so much about what went on in the streets in the 60s and the 70s, but we don't hear about the organization and the structure that took place behind the walls. So over in Attica, you had folks who were, you know, some came in as social prisoners, some were political prisoners. You had everything from members of the Black Panther Party, members of the Young Lord. You had leadership from the Weather Underground, who were actually inmates inside of Attica during that particular time. So there was a lot of organization. There was folks like Frank Big Black Smith, who was one of the leaders in that particular rebellion. You had L.D. Barkley. You had a man, Jazz Hayden, who many of us know right now, you know, who's a freedom fighter from New York. You had Sam Melville, who was one of the, like I said, members of the Weather Underground, and so many other folks, so many young lords and so forth. And, you know, over the next few days, it was, you know, they flew in different people that the inmates wanted to speak to about organizing, and they wanted the plight. They wanted their plight to be known. They wanted it to be public. They wanted the world to know what was going on and what was taking place inside of Attica prison. So for the from September 9th, I believe, to the 13th, you know, they held that particular prison down until Rockefeller sent troops into the prison, and, you know, with the intent, with the knowledge of the fact that there may be, or there will be casualties, including prison guards. You know, after years of uncovering, you know, this nonsense, they found that, you know, the state went in there and some of the particular state troopers and the correctional officers that stormed that particular prison, some of them actually used their own guns. You know what I mean? So, you know, they started off by gassing, using the powder gas, and it took control of a lot of the inmates' lungs and their nasal passages. So they already had them where they needed to have them. But in the end, 39 people were murdered on that particular day, including 10 correctional officers. And it was proven that all of these folks were murdered by police. They were murdered by state troopers. They were murdered by the guards, and not one of these folks were harmed by the actual inmates themselves. They had, when they stormed, they stripped these folks down naked, and they tortured them. They burned them. They beat them with clubs, and like I said, gunned them down, tortured them, and so on and so forth. And, you know, Nixon called homeboy called Rockefeller and you know, awarded him. He gave him props. He was like, look, man, you know, good job. And it was said that homeboy was home eating an egg sandwich while the prison was being stormed. And you know, so we want to remind folks and remember that this is just one of the atrocities that took place right here in American soil in 1971 during this particular time period.
I mean, I think that's an amazing and important incident to remember, and just to extend it out to the 21st century. You know, prisoners are still being killed behind bars by corrections officers. There was a story that broke, I think, in the past day or so, that the Department of Corrections in New York confirms that 24-year-old Rikers Island detainee Asias Johnson died today. He is the 9th fatality in DOC custody that they admit to having died in New York City jails just this year alone. And that was reported by George Joseph, and it's in thegothamist.com. So yeah, like prison organizing, what happened at Attica inspired other uprisings as well. But, you know, our folks are still being murdered behind bars by these pigs, and by COVID also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and definitely the kind of violent physical repression that happened in Attica still happens, but there's also the continuation of the inhumane conditions and other kinds of repression that go on in the system that keep the kind of organizing that happened in Attica that you know, created the uprising and the kind of organizing that George Jackson was doing, that keeps that kind of organizing from happening. Because not only are prisons now turning mail services over to a private contractor and screening every piece of mail that people behind the walls get, and not delivering a lot of it to them, but they're also being denied access to books. Phone calls to their families are incredibly expensive. And the food is horrendous. They get no medical treatment, no life-saving medical treatment. So the intent is for the system to literally kill these people. Prisons are concentration camps. Basically, they exist in this country to disappear a problem, and too many of us are content with the idea that, well, if folks are in prison, they must have done something wrong. But we've got to check on our people, because they're all at this point, they're all political prisoners. Everybody behind the wall is a political prisoner. I mean, because this system, this justice system, it's not fair and it's not just, and nobody behind the walls is being treated like a human being. So Attica is still, Attica lives on. It needs to. The uprising of Attica needs to live on.
And let's remember, like today, as folks mentioned, there's an organization called Jailhouse Lawyers, which is representing prisoners and is made up of prisoners. And they themselves are planning a shutdown in 2022. And if folks are interested, they can go to their website, which is Ubuntu, which is IAMWEUBUNTU. And you can go to their Twitter page, which is Jailhouse Lawyers Speak, and find out more about the organizing around a strike in 2022 that they're doing the work for now. And obviously, Attica, those demands that those folks were making were long-standing demands, right? I think the assassination of George Jackson kicked it to a higher level, but they were long-standing organizers trying to fight back against the prison conditions prior to George even being assassinated. So they had a history of trying to organize. Today, that organizing continues. And folks are right. We need to continue to support folks behind the walls, because they need to self-organize and we need to support them.
I want to point out too, because sometimes when we're talking about prisoners' rights, you have folks say, what about this type of prisoner? What about the rapists? What about the killers? What about this, so on and so forth? I think that what needs to happen is, there has to be a system created by the people themselves. You can't turn the byproducts of the manufacturers back to the manufacturers and expect some type of justice or whatever. This whole system right here, as you pointed out about political prisoners, we all came to this particular country as political prisoners, as far as those who are descendants of slaves were kidnapped and brought here as political prisoners, right? But the fact is, when you talk about social crimes, so on and so forth, again, we have to look at what are prisons for? Is it for punitive justice, or is it for rehabilitation? We say it's for none of it, because of the fact that right now it's another form of slavery, as we know. But I think that what has to take place is we have to create a system that, like I said, is controlled by the people, because we can't expect justice from unjust people. This is how this country was created, through all of the crimes that are on the books. This is how the United States came about: the robbery, the rape, the thievery, so on and so forth. So we're not saying, oh no, just let all, we say set the captives free. We're not talking about folks who are pariahs to our people. But at the same time, how do we go about justice? And I think that's a larger conversation that needs to be had and, structured and organized.
And that's something I've shared with my viewers on Burn It Down with Kim Brown, that this is something I'm actually struggling with personally. In 2017, my brother was murdered in Hawaii, and the person that killed him was 16 years old at the time. And I was as involved as I could be with the whole process. The young boy ended up taking a plea agreement. I think he was convicted of manslaughter. And I actually, in my victim impact statement, talked about like his age at the time that he did this really influenced the way that I felt about how he would be punished. And he has been locked up since he was 16. I've been working with a wonderful person in Hawaii. Her name is Lauren Walker, who works on restorative justice. Like, we're trying to set up like a meeting between me and him and his mom, because like violence just begets violence. Like, he killed my brother, but I don't think that 20 years in prison is going to help him. I don't see how 16, now he's probably 19 years old. I don't see how decades behind bars are going to rehabilitate him or make him a more productive member of society when he is finally released. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for people who are in the chat talk about what about this crime, what about that crime. I get it, because I don't think that this kid should be out walking the streets right now. But I'm not exactly sure what to do with him. So I can understand how people be like, we can't let everybody out. Well, we got to work with them, because they're going to come out at one point or another, and we want them to come out better, not worse.
Right.
And that's the role of their system, is to do that. Their role of their system is they don't do any, they've gutted any educational services, so-called rehabilitation services. And so it's just a warehousing of people, and folks are in those conditions, and they're just trying to survive, and they're surviving with guards attacking them, with other inmates maybe coming at them, trying to talk to their families, having to sneak things in, trying to survive, trying to sneak things in, trying to make some money, so they got to sneak things in. So there's a system that creates a market, and that creates human beings going on top of each other and fighting each other. And so you're right. So it's not a system that's meant to rehabilitate, or a system that's meant to make sure people change behaviors or try to do something towards a restorative justice process. It's just the warehousing. And so that's why, and again, any state, the role of a state, at least in my estimation, is to do something along those lines. And because one, you can't, this state here just over criminalizes any behavior, and then throws people away or lock people up or give them records, and then shits on their life chances to do anything positive, because it puts all these barriers up once that happens. And then two, you have a system that, again, that is since it is designed in a way which is not to do anything around rehabilitation, or just to throw people away or criminalize people, then it's only the worst that we're going to get out of folks who come back with just trying to survive again. So it's a system that needs to be burnt down. And even when we talk about abolitionists, for the most part, are saying, of course, we need rehabilitative, restorative. We may potentially take people away from general society for a while, but the incarceration system that we have now does nothing towards making people whole again, towards making victims whole again. It's just a way of again, storing excess labor in some ways and penalizing our folks. So,
Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just, real quick, let me just give people some statistics, because every time we have this conversation about abolition and, inmates' rights, and, people, always do bring up, what about the rapists? What about the pedophiles? What about, people who throw Molotov cocktails in a house and set everybody on fire? Most of the people who are in prison are actually nonviolent fucking drug offenders. All right. So let's be clear about who is really being warehoused here. This country isn't going after people who rape people, who are mostly white men, by the way. This country isn't going after, a bunch of rapists. Like, come on, cut that out. And if people were really concerned about rapists and pedophilia, I'd like to know where some of y'all folks were when you were listening to R. Kelly. I'd like to know where some of these folks were. They're so concerned about rape. And clearly, I guess the concern is about, women's safety and children's safety. How many of y'all sat around and talked about, the reason they targeted Bill Cosby is because he was trying to buy NBC? Yeah. Get the hell out of here, man. This system, this prison system, the prison industrial complex in this country does not exist to rehabilitate anyone. It doesn't exist to punish crime. It exists to disappear people that the system has decided are undesirable, excess population, and to make examples out of people. It's a system of control. That's right. And we buy into it with these narratives that, well, what about all these other awful people? Well, that's why we have community. That's why we're supposed to have community. That's why we're supposed to be building this alternative system that does better with people and their problems than the system that exists. So, good grief, y'all.
Jackie, I'm so glad you said it. See, that's why I miss Jackie, because Jackie be saying the shit I can't say. But anyway, but part of that too, like you said, it's like, it reminds us of what about black on black crime? What if they just pull their pants up? Say hands up, don't shoot. Roll around 5 times, spin on your head and grab your nose. I mean, it's like, come on, man. It's like, what about we organize, motherfucker? What about we get together, we organize and be strategic about what it is we need to do, opposed to talking about reasons why something can or cannot happen. There are people who are in prison who are innocent. There are people that are innocent. There are people who have been locked up for over 50 years for crimes they didn't even fucking commit. You know what I mean? And we see these cases daily. It's not like a rare thing, like, oh man, this guy was innocent or whatever. The situation with the Martinsville 7, just the other day, they was exonerated after 50 years? I mean, shit, what, 70 years?
Yeah.
70 fucking years. And you talking about you're gonna give them a pardon. You literally executed, you murdered people. If I could come back, if these motherfuckers execute me and I could come back and you tell me you gave me a pardon, man, please. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's ridiculous. So definitely. But speaking of police control and being controlled by the state, our very own Dr. Kamal Franklin, you know what I'm saying? You have some news on Cop City, what's going on here in the very racist state of Georgia.
Yeah, and the very racist city of Atlanta, which holds itself up as a black mecca, but really kowtows to white interests. So the city council finally voted, and as expected, they approved Cop City. And we've been talking about Cop City is basically a training ground for police, that land that's owned by the city of Atlanta that they are going to give over to Police Foundation for $10 a year, over 100 acres of forested land that's going to be cut down to make a training center for the police to practice their criminal tactics, so they can come into our neighborhoods and over police our people, and so they can practice with the Israeli police on how to stop and suppress organizing and to stop folks from fighting back. So the cowards in the city council voted with the cops, with the residents of Buckhead who are calling for more police, who wanted this to happen, with the corporate interests who put up $90 million, including Coca-Cola, folks like Morehouse and Spelman or schools have been on the council raising money for this Cop City. Governor Kemp, the Republican right-wing governor that all Democrats are supposed to hate, sent a letter to the city council before the vote, asking them, saying that they should vote for this, that they should empower the police. So all of this, the majority of the Black city council members voted for this, agreed to it. And now, it's the fight's not over, because we still have targets we're going to go after. But it just shows the state of like elected officials and folks who don't have any backbone, who side with corporate and right-wing interest over the Black working class and poor people of their city, who lastly, the vast majority, when they had public comments, there were literally 17 hours of public comments. 68% of the folks who made public comments who voted against or did not want this Cop City to happen. And the only polls that were taken, it was over 70% of the people, if not even more, no, I'm sorry, over 90% of the people in the poll that was taken who said they did not want this Cop City to happen. And the only public town hall that happened around this, 100% of the people who spoke at that town hall meeting said they did not want this to happen. The only people, again, who wanted this to happen were the police, the rich folks in Buckhead, the corporations who paid for it, Governor Kemp, and apparently the Black city council members who have no backbone and no heart.
Right. The slaves who run the plantation locally, the overseers, and it's so much wrong with that. I mean, for one, for folks who are unfamiliar with Georgia, it is a forest land. It's a lot of forestry. And what's happening is there's a lot of deer and shit just, wrecking cars because of the fact that, I mean, you're literally mowing their shit down. You have all types of animals that live in these forests. You have deer, you have coyote, you have all types of different animals that this is their habitat. So now when you knock these places down, they move further into the city. So now it's nothing to look out in the backyard and see 11, 12 deer. I mean, driving around the corner, literally you have to move like you in a damn safari sometime. Possums, all types of shit just coming out of nowhere because of the fact that these bastards are destroying the earth. They are gentrifying, and now they're turning this police state into a cop city within the police state. You know what I'm saying? And as Kamal mentioned, right here on Georgia State campus, you have Gilly, who's for years, for decades, have been, these are the Israeli forces here, not just on quote unquote American soil, but at a educational institution, a facility right here in the heart of downtown Atlanta, training the police on how to deal with the potential terrorists, aka the brothers and sisters in the hood. You know what I mean? So this is the business that we're dealing with. So this is a very important blow to our people as a whole, because I'm quite sure they're not just going to be training cops here in Atlanta. They're going to be bringing in some of these police from around the country. You know what I mean? So, be advised that the police state is furthering. And when you talk about political prisoners, we all are political prisoners or potential political prisoners. And we happen to live in the general population at this time.
Kamal, let me ask you a question, because I listened to some of the public comment, because they had it available on YouTube, and I was listening to people's calls. And like you said, overwhelmingly, the majority of the people who weighed in were against it. But some said that they weren't against the idea of a cop academy, but they were against the idea of a cop academy in that location. Like, why is those 85 acres like so important? Why even people who are in favor of a new academy said that they don't want it in that particular space?
I mean, I think it's just the location that the Police Foundation and the city of Atlanta, in their estimation, thought that it was not being used, right? It's almost like the forest by itself was sort of not a good use of the property. And so it's over 300 acres, right, of land that's in another county, but the city of Atlanta owns properly. And so they decided that they were going to use that area to basically create 100 acres worth, and they've now downsized it to 85, because it originally was over 120 acres, and they thought they were doing something by downsizing it slightly to like 85 acres. But they just figured that they thought no one would care, to be honest. They thought they could, when they originally made this proposal, there were no town halls scheduled, there was no public meetings happening. They haven't even done, to my knowledge, any environmental tests on the area to make sure it's suitable for what they want to put it up with. They just decided that they had the power to do it and that they could do it. And they figured that they could just push it through. So this place holds no special significance, even though now, as part of the battle cry of the police and the Police Foundation was that they have no alternative. But this place was not picked because there was no alternative. It was picked because they thought they could just get away with it. If they wanted to take those resources and fix up the center that they already have, then so do it, right? Why are you letting the center you already have, that you supposedly love your police or so much, you've already let that go dilapidated, right? So if you need something so badly, then just fix that up, right? But that's not what's happening. They've decided they want some state of the art, and I agree with Kalanji's estimation. Part of this is to create some state of the art cop city, training ground, amusement park that they can showcase to all the other cities, showcase internationally. And again, for Atlanta, it's a way of trying to say, we are a big city. We are an important international city. And again, as we've stated before, for them, that means, look, rich people, we have a police force that's ready to beat anybody down who does anything, who comes around private property. Protesters are willing to beat down. We're willing to clear the neighborhoods so gentrification can take place, and we can get more white manager class folks up in here in the city of Atlanta proper. That's all what really they're saying. But the land, it holds no special significance to what they're trying to do, except for the fact that they thought they could get away with it without any public comments or into a protest, and it would be an easy win for them.
And to add on, the homeless population is going up. It's not going down at all. You know what I mean? They're not concerned about housing for them. But then again, they're going to create housing, and that housing is going to be the prison system itself, because of the fact that these cops, part of their training, they're going to have to take that training to the street and practice it. And so a lot of these quote unquote homeless brothers and sisters, they'll be a part of that prison population. So it's a recycling of sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, and just the fact that they were able to thought they would acquire this land for $10. I mean, can you find anywhere to live down there for $10? What was it, $10 an acre or something like that?
Year.
$10 a year. Can you find anywhere to live for $10 a year? I mean, the jobs don't exist, housing doesn't exist, healthcare doesn't exist, education doesn't exist. And then you wonder why some people turn to quote unquote crime. And then at the same time, they're building this enormous cop city. And then we're sitting here like, oh, well, some people need to be removed from the community because they're maladjusted and their backward behavior. Their behavior is a direct result of the conditions that this system created in doing shit like this with this. Oh my God. I need coffee.
You can curse on here. This ain't Sputnik.
Whiskey.
This BPM.
That's right. Kamal's kids are at school, so I don't have to.
Yeah, they're good now.
Hopefully they make it.
Yeah. So once again, what did we learn today? Capitalism is our true enemy, and we have to organize on crushing capitalism, because these are all the workings and ingredients that go that make this nice cake called capitalism. So once again, we can point it all back to the same place. So that's why organization is a plus. Anyway, we got a couple minutes before we bring on the ear doctor, you know what I'm saying, to speak some of that good stuff he talking about. This shit is mind-boggling, and it makes your head swirl because of the fact that, for folks that are viewing and listening, I don't know how a lot of these quote unquote journalists and everything, do this shit for years. When they talk about the wars and they talk about police terrorism, they talk about all these ills in society. You know what I'm saying? How can it not affect you? How can it not impact you? How can it not encourage you to want to get up and fight?
Easy, because listen, you don't become let me credit this to where it is. This was not my original thought. I saw this on social media, but someone on Twitter put up that, you don't become a millionaire by reporting the news. You become a millionaire by reporting the news the way billionaires want the news reported, right? So a lot of journalists, so-called journalists, don't have any scruples about reporting things 100% from the perspective of the elites and from the police. I mean, that's how you advance, right? You don't get to host NBC Nightly News by saying fuck the police. You understand? So like that's not a surprise to me. But I'm curious. I'm sorry to stay on this cop city shit. I mean, can we primary some of these sellout ass niggas, or is it even worth the time? Because it's just to be another sellout ass nigga waiting to take the spot of the current sellout ass nigga who sits on the Atlanta City Council.
I mean, we are primarying. Like there's different actions happening in Atlanta, different groups that are working together, and folks who don't normally sort of work together, folks who stay in their civic engagement lane. Some of us stay in our community organizer lane, but we're trying to break out of some of those lanes to say, like, look, I don't know if I think so-and-so is that much better than this other one, but this other one is so bad. I'm going to play this lesser of two evil game and get you out, because you've proven yourself to be exactly that, a sellout, somebody who's not concerned about the people, someone who just wants to talk that old folksy black talk to folks, who wants to talk about how you want to repair the sidewalk and talk about legacy residents and all that kind of stuff and make it sound good. But really, you're in the pocket of the developer, you're in the pocket of the police, you in the pocket of the governor, apparently, you in the pocket of the people at Buckhead. So and again, Atlanta has such a rich history of selling out, right? A rich history of selling out that for the last 40 or 50 years, the black majority, and sometimes only black, right? City council, the black mayors of the last 50 years, we've talked about this, have led this city to a place where it has depopulated its black population in the so-called Black Mecca. They time after time, they've destroyed public housing. They've kicked out houseless and or homeless people. They've moved poor people outside the city, and they've depopulated the city of its Black residents, where for the first time, the city is no longer officially a majority Black city in probably over 50 or 60 years. And that's happened under the leadership of these Black mayors, and these Black city councils. So there's not a lot of hope. It's a tactic. It's not a main goal. But obviously, as you move towards organizing folks and trying to create alternative institutions and dual power, you got to deal with the state, because the state has the resources. The state builds Cop City. The state decides where to put those resources, which impact our people. So we can't ignore it. We still got to deal with it, whether or not that's at the federal level or the city level. But all in all, our fight is primarily going to be, how do we organize our people so that we can push back even stronger, not only against these folks, but push back with these other alternative institutions that we need to build in order to really get our liberation and freedom, and be prepared for the fight. Because like you said before, in some ways, the billionaires who create the millionaires, ain't nobody giving up shit for free, right? So it ain't like they gonna let us build our alternatives or replace their people with our people. They're gonna put their money into it. They're gonna fight. So we gotta be ready to fight.
Right. And I want to add on to what you're saying too, Kamal, because of the fact that so often I keep hearing folks with this whole Black mayor bullshit, right? Okay, Atlanta's had a Black mayor for the last 40 years. That's great. But we also live in a city where it's been a white governor since its formation. So you know what I'm saying? So you have the governor's mansion, these rich ass Republicans or Democrats running the state itself. And then you have the security guard, which is the Atlanta mayor, that's saying blase, blah, this, that, and the third. Of course, she or he or whoever is in that particular seat, they're going to continuously sell us out because of the fact that you have the Atlanta airport, which is one of the busiest airports in the world. You have so many different major corporations here, and it's looked at as the new Black Hollywood. So it's a whole lot of money and it's a whole lot of paper. And when Kamal talked about Buckhead, for those of you who are not familiar with Buckhead, Buckhead has been one of the ritzier areas in Atlanta. But over the last 3-4 years, it's been a whole lot of crime out there because of the fact that people are hungry, and they've decided, you know what, all these rich motherfuckers, all these artists and activists and whoever, they're shopping in this particular district, and meanwhile down the street we're hungry. So let's go check in and see what's on their plate. It's not a threat because of the fact that there's no one seriously guarding it, because for so long they felt like that the white owners and the elite Black businesses were able to maintain control, because a lot of folks from the hood and other places were afraid to actually go to Buckhead because they were targeted. Now it's like, we don't give a fuck. We coming to eat, So now, like you said, they want these extra police because of the fact that they want to protect the shit that they stole.
Just to quickly, and Buckhead is continually threatening Atlanta to separate. So as we've seen in other places, when you have the rich white folks and it's a lot of places where the corporate headquarters are, they got these right wing folks who actually were imported from New York, who used to, to tell you how slimy the system is. I'm forgetting this white boy's name, but he used to be with Trump. And on Trump, he used to be with a Democrat and was supporting Hillary Clinton. And then on the night of Donald Trump's victory over Hillary Clinton, he decided to go to Donald Trump's victory party, and since then became a Republican. And he decided to move his slimy ass here to Atlanta and head up a Buckhead coalition that's fighting now to separate Buckhead from Atlanta proper, to take all the tax revenue. And again, this is something we've seen over and over again with these sort of rich white enclaves to decide to take their resources, and particularly their educational the money that goes to education, which we all know is not fairly distributed anyway, but the money that is raised that does go towards education, they want to take that too, so that they can have all of that and separate themselves. And I don't care if they go or stay, to be honest, but what's happening is that they're putting the pressure on these at least these city council folks who are allowing themselves to be pressured by the threat that this sort of rich white enclave is going to go away. And again, because these cats are spineless, have no ideology, have no backbone, have no politics, but will do whatever some rich white man tells them to do, or some white man with a badge tells them to do, or some white man in the governor's mansion tells them to do, that they quickly fall and fold at the first sign of pressure, or the first sign of nah, Negro, I don't want you to do that. This is what I want you to do. And they come up with a yes boss and a yes master, and I'll put that bill through and all the rest of it.
Yes, sir.
And the rest of it is history, you know?
Yes, sir. I was just about to dance for you, boss. Gunline, boss. Anyway, and that's where the governor's mansion is too, by the way. Where the chief whitey in charge is at. But anyway, we're gonna go to the ear doctor and shake some of this off and come on back in a few ticks.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stay with the theme, the musical message. But at the same time, I want to let everybody to know, please tune in at 6 p.m. tonight. We got Dr. Jared Ball doing a BPM special, so make sure y'all tune in at 6 tonight.
Wonderful.
All right. So let's get to it.
RemiX.
The people have to stand up and demand, and they have to understand that they have a right. They have a right to demand that these judicial procedures be carried out in the right manner.
Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of this. Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of a black revolution and why black people have a right to take what's theirs. You can read the platform of the program, which is a basic program, and it simply says exactly what black people have been crying for 400 years. One, we want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our own black communities. Two, we want full employment for our people. Three, we want decent housing to the shelter of human beings. Four, we want an end to the robbery of the black community by the white racist businessman. We want freedom. We want freedom. We want freedom. We want freedom. Power to determine the destiny of our own black communities. Power to determine the destiny of our own black communities. Power to determine the destiny of our own black communities. Two, we want full employment for our people. Three, we want decent housing to the shelter of human beings. Four, we want an end to the robbery of the black community by the white racist businessmen.
There you go. You see who we got? Bobby UEP. That's how we do. We got to keep this movement going, y'all. We got to make sure we keep our land. All right? Well, you know what it is. This is the Remix Morning Show, man. Where else you going to get this? Let's get back to the crew. You know how we do.
Yeah. That's a lovely little track there, Ear Doctor. What is that? Is that an Ear Doctor original?
Nah, you know, it's a little sample I found where I chopped it up a little bit and looped it and did it proper. You know how we do.
Are we ever gonna do guess the sample? Bring back the sample? Is that over?
You know I want to, but you know how YouTube is like, yo, you playing some. We need to get that song. We need to get that money. So every time I try to rock some song like that, they like, oh, we gotta cancel that. So
Oh.
Yeah, they've been knocking our shows off the air just because of the sample he's played.
Oh, boo.
Yeah. The hate is real.
definitely appreciate that those lyrics from the BPP. You know what I mean? And the what's that? I was about to say the 10 Commandments. The
Kinda.
the 10-point program. 10-point program.
You're right, kind of. They kind of are the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kamal like, nigga, back me up.
Word, rock out, yo.
All right, no doubt. I was like, 10 Commandments just don't sound right, but it works. It was the 10 Commandments. So anyway, it's the Revolutionary 10 Commandments of the Black Panther Party. How about that? Right about now, you know what I'm saying? It's about that time of the week where we have because we've been talking about organizing, we've been talking about some of the things going on, so we gotta talk about how to get physical up in this piece.
Let's
So
go.
we got some urban survival preparedness. My man Balogun, OJ Tade, Warriors class up next. Remix.
Peace. This is Balogun.
You lit.
We're here with the technique of the week. I would first like to say there's a difference between self-defense and self-protection. Okay. Sometimes we'll say self-defense because that's what people are used to. But in truth, we teach self-protection. You don't want to be defensive in a violent encounter. Because defensive means he acts and I defend myself. The person acting is going to be faster than the person reacting. So you don't want, as quickly as possible, you want to change from being defensive or being the defender to being the attacker. People in their mind have made attacker seem negative. So in class, I'll say, okay, you're the attacker, and he's trying to do something to you, and the person, they don't get the idea of being the attacker is something positive. I'm walking with my wife down the street, and somebody looks at her and says, B, I'll kill you, pulls out a knife, and I wait for them. First of all, say, B, I'll kill you, they shouldn't even get to pull out a knife. A real scenario, because that ain't happened to me. I probably wouldn't be talking to you on this thing right now, but one of my students in the MARTA station walking with his wife down the stairs. Dude walks by, pats his wife on the backside. He says, excuse me, sir, did you just touch my wife's backside? Yeah, nigga, and I'll beat you up and take her from you. You can say, well, did you whoop somebody because they touched your wife's backside? Goddamn right. And any man saying he wouldn't, he's probably lying or he's soft as shea butter. Okay? So that's a violation. If I'm walking down the street, somebody touched my behind, I'm going to have an issue. Okay? Now, when I was single and I was a sister, I was all right. But so it's a violation. So no, nobody's going to just touch my wife. But that happened in his instance, and he was stopped. His wife stopped him wisely from doing anything because the police were coming down the stairs right behind for whatever reason. Okay, so I can say kind of wisely. I don't know. I'd have to stick to it a little bit. But person threatens you, man, I'll kill you. So don't wait for the attack to come. So this is his head. Now that's a big old head, about the size of probably my head, but. It's a big head, but this is just for practice. Let the person you're working with cross their hands. They could just use their palms, but this allows you to get a harder hit. So you just slap. Open your hands like you're opening up a big pickle jar. You say, sir, I don't want no problems. What did I do? Boom! Hit him, right? You catch him there, that's a stun. So really you're catching him either here to the side of his face, to his ear, wherever. Like my father used to always say, don't do something. Don't do something. Sir, what did I do? I don't want no problem. You're putting up this fence, so in case he punched, your hands are in the way, boom, catch it. Okay? Move yourself forward, catch it. Boom! I didn't stick to this. Sometimes we'll stick, pull them down. I don't want you to do that because if you're not trained throwing headbutts and stuff like that, I don't want you to worry about that. Just hit. After the hit comes, boom, right? Then I put my forearm here, so I'm to the side of him. I put my forearm here, I can grab his arm, if I can. If I can't, just put your forearm there, pull down. You use your elbow, not your wrist to pull. Bring your elbow to your side. pull down. That pulls him down, and throw a knee to his thigh, to his groin, whatever you hit. Don't aim. The way you're throwing the knee is a summation of forces. That means you throw the largest joint first. You throw your hip first. You hump forward with your hip, and then your knee rises. And even if you throw your hip forward, you'll see that your knee comes forward. You throw your hip forward, and then punch forward with your knee. Don't lift that YMCA karate knee. Don't do that. Throw that knee forward, okay? So once again, I'm here. Sorry, what's the problem? Boom! Take it, right? After you hit him here to the head, boom, slam that into his neck. If that stun is going to allow you to do that, you can grab his arm if you want, or grab his shirt or whatever, and pull down, knee. You can bring your hands here for the knee. Okay? Knee, boom! Knee, not that knee here. I'm punching with the knee, so I don't want it. Boom! Hit you to the body. Boom! Boom! Okay? Throw those knees, and then you can push him down and then take off. Okay? Once again, you're here. Boom! Hit, pull down, and throw at least 3 knees, and then push down. Okay? Whether you're a woman or a man, it's hard to take those knees, and definitely hard to take this hit. Now, I was working as a bouncer in my younger days, and I had to hit a guy like this who actually worked for the Chicago Bears. He was a Chicago Bear. I was hit. Boom! Hit it. Okay? That white dude's face turned red as, woo, boy. Boom! And he stunned, and then hit, boom, hit him there. Okay? And that was it. And, you know, things had to go to court. Anyway, so hit him. Sometimes you'll be disappointed, but that's all you get. Your balance is in the ears. So if you slam it to the ears, you take his balance, don't be surprised if the person falls, take off, throw in a stomp, whatever it is you got to do. Okay? When you're doing it, too, don't train like this. There's no kind of intention there. All right? You can only have one emotion at a time. Okay? So if a person, I want to train that emotion, that intensity while I'm training. Okay? And then I can calm down. That's what I want. And then I'm out. Train it that way, so when it comes out of you is that way. The way you train is the way you protect yourself. Okay? But this, you train, you're gonna be doing it. He's not gonna, his head's not gonna just move. Here, that's doing nothing. Nothing. Okay? If you can only use one hand, use one hand in your hip. Sir, what's the problem? Boom, right? I'm here. Boom. Sir, what's the problem? I don't understand. What did I do? Boom. That would be that. Boom. Okay? Take it. Use your hip. Summation of forces. Hip goes, shoulder goes, then my elbow on my knee. Boom. Okay?
Call that West Side Chicago.
Yeah. Boom, that's that West. Boom. Or here, back slap. Okay? So that is the technique of the week. Remember, slap to the head, you hit to the neck with your forearm, pull to the back of the neck and that arm if you can, and punch forward with those knees. And then get out of there as quickly as you can. If you know you can't run, you have to be more aggressive. Boom, take them down, stomp, 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 or hit them with your cane, and then walk them out of there. Because you got to make sure she's not getting up to chase you and do you more harm. Thank you for your time. That's Technique of the Week. And I will see you all next week. Much love. Stay black.
Man, oh man. I learned so much from Balagoon, but I hate to see him play fighting with that fine ass assistant he got. Like, please don't slip up and hit him. He too fine. Don't beat him, please, brother Balagoon. Don't beat him. He too fine.
Shout out to my man Belay.
Shout out to Belay. Belay be fine. Let's go, Belay. Good morning.
Hey, Balagoon, did she just call him Belay Refine? I don't know.
Belay be fine. Yes,
I might have to bring them back to the screen for that, man. That might be. But anyway, shout out to my man Balagoon. For those who are in Atlanta, check out the African Martial Arts Institute on Sundays from 2 to 4. And you can check them out live on Mondays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Train or Die compound in Atlanta, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. the Train or Die compound in Atlanta. If you're interested in learning direct African martial arts. Also on Saturdays, do not forget 1 p.m. warrior class. You know what I mean? Where you'll get an extended version of what it is you will see here. Anyway,
I can't wait till COVID is over because I hope in Balagoon is going to take the warrior class training retreats on the road. and we do a warrior class retreat weekend where we spend the weekend learning how to fuck people up in DC and Baltimore, Chicago and Detroit and New York. Like, I can't wait for COVID to be done, brother Balagoon. You got to take the warrior class retreat nationwide because I want to be there.
Well, he's still on there. Y'all want to bring him back up for a quick second? If he's still ready?
We're gonna bring him back up real quick. Balagoon, you ready? Balagoon, you good for a second?
Brother Balagoon.
Let's have the car right.
Belay still blushing, but
hey man, I'm getting a lot of agreements in the chats though. A lot of people agree with my perspective here.
I ain't never seen Belay smile so hard, man. See it. There's molars in the back. I didn't even know he had that many teeth. But anyway, yeah. So we will. Matter of fact, if I can let the cat out the bag, there will be a special USPI on Black Power Media coming soon. I would say in the next 30 days or so, dealing with urban survival preparedness and an extension of some of the things that's going on because it's necessary. Balagoon has been a practitioner of African martial arts for what, 50 years?
49 years.
49 years. You know what I mean? So you got 49 years of ass whoopings that you can get if you get it twisted. And Belay been smiling for about 49 minutes.
And these are those Chicago ass whoopings, Balagoon. I mean, Balagoon, you gave us an indication of how rough it was growing up in Chicago a couple of weeks ago when you said the young girl walked up to you and just smashed you in your jewels when you was like 12, like, for no reason.
Right.
Kim remembers the damnedest things. I mean,
I remember that too. I thought it was hard, but I maybe Chicago's a little. I was like, bam! It's like,
Chicago.
And this stuff actually laughed about it. Like,
is a character. I just came back from Chicago. My mother turned 90, so we were there for her birthday.
Wow.
And,
Happy birthday, Mama Balagoon.
Yeah, so that was cool. October 2nd will be our first live warrior class.
Right.
So people can show up there. We're going to do it workshop style. The way I like to do workshops, unchoreographed, people ask what they want to learn, what they're concerned about to defend themselves, and then we work from there.
That's dope. That's dope. Very necessary. Yeah, man. So definitely, a lot of jewelry, you know what I'm saying? A lot of information that you can take with you, and utilize for life. So definitely we're grateful. And also, Balagoon, you have a new book out called Warrior Class. Is that right?
Yes. So the show inspired the book. We're going to do a series of books. So in this one, I talk about how we're really dealing with survival. And then I talk about how you can recruit your neighbors to work with you. A lot of times we don't know who's on either side of us. We don't know their name. That's very dangerous if there's a disaster because they know you got stuff. They're coming for your stuff, right? So get to know them at a minimum so you know at least how they move, and what they're capable of. But if you can get them together so in case somebody tries to come into your neighborhood and take stuff from the neighborhood, everybody gets together and protects the neighborhood.
No doubt.
Shares resources, stuff like that. We need that in the case of a disaster.
Cool. Quick question, Balagoon. You've been on BPM for what, a couple months right now?
Since July.
Since July. How many books have you written since you've been on BPM?
2.
So Balagoon, as you notice, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember you said that Kim and I believe Yalagoon had inspired you to write the last one. Yes.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I mean, the brother now dropped 2 books in 2 months. So he ain't nothing to play with. He like, forget Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? But
I'll let you know the secret. I'll let you know the secret to that. The secret is I get an idea for a book and I start writing it. I set them to the side. So I have all these ideas. And sometimes something like a lava lache will come up and I just have to start from the beginning. But with Warrior Class, I already have been writing things, of course, on survival, different articles and things of that nature. So I can pull from a lot of that. That helps me be able to produce quickly. And then I started my writing on screenplays. So screenplays are very succinct. And so I learned how to write fast from that. And then watching Nollywood, I started studying how they do stuff. They bring it out fast, and there's quality that they do, but they have to produce stuff fast and bring it out there.
So you have how many books out now? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, Brother Balagoon, you know, obviously we're still dealing with this terrible pandemic and COVID is, you know, bad. But hopefully it'll be over or more manageable in the next coming months or maybe even year. Do you have any thoughts about doing Warrior Class like retreats like in different cities? Because I've already like envisioned this, by the way. Like I've already seen, 50 of us at a hotel in DC and, we train a few hours a day over the course of a couple days and learn and do all that stuff. Have you thought about taking Warrior Class on the road and doing something like that?
Absolutely. In fact, in one of the Warrior Class episodes, we brought on Dexter Peggins. We call him Doc. And he's an expert on combat medical procedures.
Oh, nice.
Okay, disaster medic. He's a disaster medic. And I asked him, I said, I want to take this on the road. Would you be part of what we're doing? And he said, absolutely. Okay. So we do want to bring it on the road. I said next year because maybe things will get better, but the way things are looking, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we have done retreats. Kalani, you said we've done camps. I can't talk about what happens in the camp.
Can't be talked about.
But so yeah, it's what we do anyway. So we want to now take that to different cities and give to our people.
Nice.
No doubt.
And Belay, finally, it sounds like I don't know what your marital situation is, but according to the chat, you need to drop your personal information. Apparently, you'll get some calls later. Apparently, good luck, brother. Good luck.
I actually do have a girlfriend, and she actually is the co-host of our show,
nice.
Warrior Class.
That's an outstanding brother. I like that. That's another.
Hey, allow me to say. Allow me to say she could fight too, because I trained with her and she punched hard. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. You know this is blush.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, brother man.
Thank
y'all.
Doubt.
Thank y'all.
Have a great day. Peace.
No doubt. Peace. Again, check out Warrior Class on Warrior Class on Saturday.
Warrior Club. It's everything.
Hey, an ass whooping is an ass whooping. That's without no hesitation. But anyway, definitely every Saturday, 1 p.m. Right about now, we're gonna take it to the ear of doctors. You know what I'm saying? Because I know he's patiently waiting in the wind. He got
it. Y'all hear me good?
Yeah, Lollapalooza.
All right. Yeah. We outside. Ooh. But yo, I just want to let everybody know
COVID restrictions there. But go ahead.
Not one mask.
I know, right? This is anyway. I want to let everybody know that please, I want y'all to go ahead and send your music. Send in what I'm trying to do. Right, what I'm about to do right now is make sure that y'all can do like